Welcome back to the deep dive. You've sent us a stack of sources, and our job is to jump in, pull out the really key stuff, and help you get up to speed quickly.
Exactly. Think of us as guides, really, helping you sort through it all, see what stands out, and, why it actually matters.
And today we're diving into the world of productivity apps, knowledge management tools. Specifically, you've given us sources on 3, Neuron 5.0, Obsidian, and Notion.
Ah, yes, a space a lot of us spend time in. These apps promise so much better thinking, better organization, easier teamwork. But, well, the sources you sent show they come at it quite differently.
They really do.
Yeah.
So our mission today is pretty clear. Unpack these descriptions you gave us, see how each app presents itself, what their core ideas and features are, based just on this material. Let's get straight into it.
Okay, so starting right at the top. Based on those first lines in the sources, how do they each introduce themselves? What's that initial pitch? It's actually quite revealing, isn't it? Neuron 5.0, it comes out swinging with really bold language, revolutionize your workflow, enhance productivity, foster innovation, and even supercharge your productivity with cutting-edge AI.
Wow, okay. So ambitious.
No.
Very future-focused, sounds like, with AI right there at the start.
Definitely. It's positioning itself as this, comprehensive AI-driven platform. Big stuff.
And how does that compare to Obsidian in the sources?
Total contrast, really. Obsidian leads with sharpen your thinking. It calls itself a free and flexible app for your private thoughts. The focus immediately shifts.
To the individual.
Exactly. To your thinking, your privacy, it says your thoughts are yours, and customization. It feels much more, personal, intimate maybe.
Yeah, very different feel. Okay, and Notion. It also mentions AI, right? Like Neuron.
It does. It starts the AI workspace that works for you.
Yep.
So AI is prominent, but then it quickly pivots, One place where teams find every answer, automate the busy work, and get projects done.
Ah, so the AI is framed more for teams.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Yeah, that's how it reads in the source, yeah. Notion is pitching itself as that central hub for teams, projects, shared knowledge.
Interesting. So right off the bat, just from those opening lines in the material, we see 3 different paths emerging. Neuron, the AI workflow powerhouse, Obsidian, the personal private thinking space, and Notion, the AI-boosted team workspace.
Precisely. And as you're listening, you can already start thinking, which of those resonates most with your main goal right now? Is it personal insight, solo productivity, or team coordination?
Okay, let's move beyond the sales pitch.
Yeah.
How do these tools actually handle information? The basics, notes, documents, connecting ideas.
Right, the fundamental stuff. Neuron 5.0 talks about smart notes. The source mentions a rich Markdown editor.
Okay, Markdown's pretty common.
It is, but the source lists some specifics for Neuron Live Preview, which is nice, support for LaTeX and KaTeX, that's for math formulas.
And for technical folks.
Definitely. Also, GFM to-do lists, hashtag styling, and something potentially quite powerful, block or paragraph embedding.
Embedding, what does that mean exactly?
The source gives a syntax example, note block ID. It suggests you can pull a specific chunk, a paragraph, maybe a block of text from one note, and have it appear live inside another note.
Ah, I see. So you write it once, but it can show up in multiple places.
Exactly. Keeps things consistent. The source also mentions standard bidirectional links, wiki link, even for notes that don't exist yet, plus file attachments and embedding images. Pretty comprehensive note features described there.
Okay. And Obsidian. The source mentioned Markdown there too, but emphasized something else.
Links.
Yeah.
Heavily. The source talks about using links to create connections, giving that example of linking concepts like René Descartes to his work, meditations, or even specific ideas like, I think, therefore I am.
So it's all about building that web of knowledge, connecting everything.
That seems to be the core philosophy presented. Connect anything to anything, and it highlights the interactive graph view.
The visual map of notes.
Yeah, letting you actually see how your ideas link up. For some people, that's a game changer for understanding their own thoughts. The source also mentions Canvas, calling it an infinite space for brainstorming, diagramming, more visual thinking.
Got it. And Notion. What did the source say about its no-doc handling?
It mentions docs and wikis as core parts. It doesn't detail the editor type like Markdown quite as much as the others.
Yeah.
But the context, especially calling itself the #1 knowledge base, suggests a really flexible document space. Probably more of that block-based editor style you often see in team tools, good for building shared knowledge repositories.
Okay, so all 3 capture info, but maybe with different focuses. Obsidian on the connections and visualizing them. Neuron detailing its specific Markdown features, including embedding, and Notion framing it more around team docs and wikis.
That's a good summary based on what's in the material, yeah.
But these apps aren't just about text notes, are they? The sources mention organizing data, tasks, projects. How do they stack up there?
Yeah, this is where things get even more distinct. Neuron 5.0, according to the source, has this feature called Data Tables.
Data tables, like spreadsheets.
Sort of, but maybe more integrated. The source describes them as customizable, with inline editing, dynamic rows, and columns, and it lists specific column types.
Oh, like what?
Things like PublishStatus using editable tags, AI tags, which are apparently AI-generated tags.
Interesting. AI tagging data.
Seems so. And ScheduledSendTime, which sounds like it could trigger webhooks or actions based on a date in the table. It also says you can convert Markdown tables into these data tables and link tables to notes.
Okay, that sounds quite powerful, like having mini databases built right in.
It definitely suggests a deep integration of structured data. The source also lists a bunch of other built-in organizational stuff for Neuron: workspaces, folders, a tabbed interface, daily journal and calendar, even a study timer.
A study timer, that's specific.
It is. And Kanban-style task boards. It really paints a picture of a feature-packed, all-in-one system.
Wow, okay. How does Obsidian handle this kind of structured stuff based on its source? Very different.
Quite different, yeah. The source indicates that while Obsidian can do things like Kanban or handle structured data, it achieves this primarily through plugins.
Ah, the plugin ecosystem.
Exactly. It specifically lists community plugins like Kanban, Data View, which it says is for advanced queries, kind of like querying your notes as a database outliner, and tasks.
So you add the features you need, rather than them all being built in from the start.
That's the impression the source gives. Flexibility through add-ons built on that simpler core of Markdown files.
Like building with Legos versus buying a pre-built model.
That's a pretty good analogy based on the descriptions. You choose the bricks you need.
And Notion. Where does it fit in for organization beyond basic docs?
The source explicitly lists projects and calendar as main features. This strongly suggests built-in database-like capabilities, which is what Notion is well known for, right? For managing tasks, projects, timelines.
Makes sense. And it mentioned other things too.
Yeah, sites and forms, suggesting capabilities that go beyond just internal organization, maybe publishing content or collecting data. Plus that claim about helping run your entire company and creating streamlined workflows.
Right. Pushing that central operating system idea again.
Definitely. So to recap this part based on the sources, Neuron seems to offer a lot of built-in tools, including those unique beta tables. Obsidian relies on plugins for that kind of advanced structure, keeping the core simple, and Notion provides built-in project and calendar functions as part of its broader team-focused platform.
Okay, let's talk AI. This seemed like a major point of difference in the initial pitches, and the source is elaborate, right?
Oh, absolutely. A huge differentiator based on this material. Neuron 5.0, as we heard, integrates AI. The source specifies for things like summaries, composition, and auto-tagging right within your notes.
Practical assistance then.
Seems like it. It also mentions AI-powered semantic search. So searching by meaning, not just keywords, and those AI tags we talked about in data tables.
But there's a catch.
The source notes that AI usages month are limited on the free and standard plans. You only get unlimited AI on their premium plan.
Okay, so AI is there, integrated into specific tasks, but access is tiered. Got it.
Now, Obsidian, what does the source material you provided say about AI?
That's the thing. It says nothing. Zero mention of AI capabilities in the description provided.
Exactly. The focus in that source is entirely on you, your thoughts, local files, linking, plugins. AI just doesn't feature in its core pitch or description here.
So if AI is a must-have for someone, this source suggests Obsidian might not be the first place to look, at least not based on its main self-description.
That's the clear takeaway from the material given. And then there's Notion,
which lean heavily on AI in its pitch.
And the source details back that up. It calls itself the AI workspace, your AI everything app. It lists specific new AI features, AI meeting notes, enterprise search, even Notion Mail.
Enterprise search using AI sounds potentially very useful for teams.
Hugely, searching across all your connected apps. And Notion boasts about being the #1-rated AI writing tool on G2. Quotes mention an AI assistant. AI seems absolutely central to Notion's current identity and feature set, according to this source.
So a really stark contrast. Neuron integrates AI for specific assists with limits. Obsidian source doesn't mention AI at all. Notion markets itself as an AI platform.
Couldn't be clearer based on these descriptions.
What about getting data in and out? And where does it all live? Ownership, connectivity. That's pretty crucial stuff.
Super crucial. And again, different philosophies emerge from the sources. Obsidian makes a very strong statement here. Phrases like, your thoughts are yours, notes stored privately on your device, accessible even offline.
Local first, privacy focused.
That's the message. It highlights open file formats, so you're never locked in. This emphasis on data control and sovereignty seems core to its identity in the source.
So your notes are just files on your computer, basically.
That's the implication for the core experience. Now, the source does mention sync securely using end-to-end encryption.
Meaning only you can read it, even when syncing.
Correct. And version history plus publish instantly to make a website from your notes. But these sound like paid add-ons presented separately from the core free offering.
Okay, so core is local and private, with Cloud Sync Publish as optional extras. Makes sense. What about Neuron?
Neuron source mentions webhook integrations. That's for connecting to other services, automatically sending data out or pulling it in.
For automation workflows.
Likely, yeah. It also talks about importing Markdown files and specifically calls out support for Notion exports.
Ah, acknowledging people might switch. Smart.
And you can export your whole workspace, notes as Markdown, tables as JSON, or individual items as MD, PDF, CSV. Standard stuff, but good to see.
So Neuron has some connectivity, import-export options, and Notion, given its team focus.
Its source lists a ton of integrates with partners. Slack, Google Drive, GitHub, Jira, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and says more are coming.
The usual suspects for business tools.
Right. And it ties this into that enterprise search feature, searching across all those connected apps. Notion clearly positions itself as an online-first central integration hub. It wants to connect to everything else you use. Downloads for desktop, mobile, and a web clipper are mentioned too, standard for cloud services.
So the emphasis isn't so much on local files like Obsidian, but on being the connected center of your digital work life.
That's definitely the impression from its source description. So Obsidian.local control, open formats, Neuron.import-export, webhook connectivity, Notion.cloud-based deep integration focus.
Okay, let's talk brass tacks, availability, cost. How do the sources describe getting these apps and paying for them if needed?
Big differences here too. Neuron 5.0, the source says, has a free plan, but it's limited. 1 workspace, 100 notes, 25 AI uses a month.
Okay, typical free tier structure.
But then it offers standard and premium plans. And here's the kicker. The source says they are $150 and $300 one-time payments.
One time, not a subscription.
That's what the source states. A one-time purchase model. That's pretty unusual these days, especially in this market. You buy it, you own that version.
Definitely stands out. What about Obsidian?
Its source describes the core app as free without limits. The main note-taking local file experience is free. It does mention a pricing page and those sync and publish features.
Which you said sounded like paid add-ons.
Exactly. The source doesn't list the prices for those, but the implication is the core is free and services cost extra.
So free software, paid services. Got it. And Notion.
It mentions Get Notion Free and a pricing page. The source doesn't detail the free plan limits, but confirms one exists. It emphasizes use by individuals and teams, which usually points to tiered pricing.
Like a typical SaaS model, software as a service?
Almost certainly. Recurring subscription fees, likely based on the number of users or advanced features needed. The source also mentions a requested demo option, which clearly signals they have enterprise-level plans too.
Okay, 3 very different models emerge from the sources. Neuron's one-time purchase, Obsidian's free core with paid services, and Notion's standard subscription SaaS model.
And finally, what about the community around these apps? Does that feature in the sources?
It does, to varying degrees. Neuron's source mentions joining the community. Pretty standard mention.
Right. Obsidian's source, though, really emphasizes its community and ecosystem. It talks about thousands of plugins, an open API, specific community plugins, plus active Discord server, a discussion forum, and developer docs.
So the community isn't just users, it's actively building the app's functionality.
That's the strong impression. It reinforces that whole idea of flexibility and customization being driven by the users and developers themselves.
It's its overall philosophy and a notion.
Its source mentions a marketplace, likely for templates or integrations, and lists those numerous integrations again, tying back to its connectivity focus. It claims 1.4M plus community members and highlights customer stories from big companies.
So Notion's community focus seems more about scale, adoption and integration partners rather than core feature development via plugins like Obsidian.
Yeah, that seems to be the difference in emphasis based on these descriptions. Obsidian's ecosystem is about customizing the tool itself. Notions is more about connecting the tool to the wider business world and showcasing its broad usage.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together. Based only on these sources you provided, what are the key differentiators that jump out?
All right. Neuron 5.0 presents itself as this really comprehensive, feature-rich platform. You've got the integrated AI for specific tasks, those unique built-in data tables for structure info, Kanban, steady timer, lots packed in. Plus that distinctive one-time payment. It's aiming to be a complete AI-assisted workflow tool out of the box.
Okay, Obsidian.
Obsidian's source screams privacy, local control, open formats. It's about your thinking, connected deeply through links, visualized with the graph view and Canvas. Its power comes from flexibility via that huge plugin ecosystem. And the core app itself is free. It's the personal knowledge base builder.
And Notion?
Notion, based on this material, is the AI-powered team workspace. It's positioned as a central hub, integrating docs, wikis, projects, calendar, now even mail and advanced search. Its strengths lie in collaboration, extensive integrations with other business tools, and that strong AI focus operates on a standard subscription model.
Yeah, so when you're looking at these based on the sources, it really comes down to your priorities, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, do you value that absolute local data control, the open formats, the endless customization through plugins? The sources point towards Obsidian.
Okay.
Or are you looking for a very feature-complete, all-in-one tool with built-in structured data handling, some AI help, and you like the idea of a one-time cost? Neuron's description aligns with that.
Right.
Or maybe your primary need is team collaboration, a central place for projects and knowledge, heavy AI integration, and connecting with a lot of other tools. Notion's pitch and features in these sources seem tailor-made for that scenario.
It really clarifies things when you see how they position themselves and what features they choose to highlight in their own descriptions. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Look at your own day-to-day workflow. Where are the friction points? What absolutely needs to work better?
Is it managing complex personal research, keeping a team project on track, just getting structured data organized alongside your notes?
Exactly. And then map those needs onto the core strengths we've just unpacked from the sources for Neuron, Obsidian, and Notion. Does privacy and linking jump out? Teamwork and AI, built-in structure and one-time cost.
Letting the sources guide you towards the tool whose philosophy, as presented, seems to match your specific requirements most closely.
Precisely. It's about finding that alignment.
This has been incredibly helpful, really breaking down these 3 apps based just on the material you sent over. Thanks for providing it for this deep dive.
You're very welcome. Hope this comparison, drawing straight from those sources, gives you the clarity you were looking for.